Hey YouTubers, this is Bob Hickman. It is so good to be back with you. Well, I've been sitting here and contemplating the mystical pentagram. I was just looking at my piece of jewelry. This is a little pewter and crystal pentagram that I dug out of my jewelry chest and I've been wearing lately. But I was sitting here looking at that and thinking about you guys, and I thought, you know, it's time for some spell work. Anyways, I promised you guys we would do a spell from the Witch's Spell a Day Almanac. Now, for those of you who've been following my channel, I recently did a review of this book, and you know, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So if you want to learn more about the Almanac in general, check that out. It's in the list of videos. You'll see it in the listing here. It's 2 videos for this one. But I told you guys we'll do a spell. So today we're going to do a spell. And it's actually from a little ways back, from the January 27th. But this is a protection spell. And it's called What Goes Around Comes Back Around. And I'm going to read this to you. I thought you guys might like to just kind of get a quick overview of the spell, and then we'll go piece by piece. If someone is causing problems, filling your life with misery, this spell is an ethical means of derailing their negativity and returning it to them to make them stop. Anoint a white candle in the back of a small mirror with an oil made of nettle leaves steeped in olive oil. Charge the candle and mirror with white light. Hold the mirror close to your eyes and visualize the person sending black energy towards you. See yourself holding up the mirror. See this energy bouncing back out of the mirror, transformed and sent back to the person as gray light. When you feel ready, light the candle and chant. Fiendish storm, unleashed my way, captured, bound, held at bay. Stripped of hatred, turned to gray, reflected back unto its source, and bound about them to block the force. Then it says, bury the burned out candle in the mirror in the ground. So we're going to do that today. All right, so pull up your chairs, gather around our spell crafting table, and let's explore some spellcraft. Now, before we get into making everything here, I just thought also I would show you, as I mentioned, this is being taken from this year's edition of the Witch's Spell a Day Almanac. I have some old editions here. For those of you who are not familiar with this, every year they put this out. These are some of my older back editions. And you'll notice that the covers keep the same pattern, but they change from year to year. So like this year was done in kind of a stone gray color. This was actually 2013. And then I've got 2012 is this one. It was done in a kind of a chartreuse green color. And then we've got, this goes back 2007, was in a reddish color. And then another shade of orange. So as you can see, when you put these on your bookshelf and you line them up, it makes kind of a colorful thing, and you can kind of get familiar, you know, at a glance, you know, oh, it's different years, and you'll remember the colors. So, you know, if I think, oh, that spell was in the 2012 book, I know it's the green book, you know. So anyway, it's just something that you might want to do. Sometimes people say, well, you saved these, they're out of date, but you know, yes, because all of them contain spells, and you don't have to just do the spell only on the day that it's listed. You can go back and use these spells at other times. And sometimes there may be a spell that you know, I don't get to do at the time, but I want to save the book and do it at a later date. So I would encourage you to start collecting these. Keep them. They look nice on the bookshelf. I'm just a big fan of them. So as I said, this spell is from this year's Spell a Day Almanac, which is a nice shade of orange. See, that one was kind of a darker orange, and it's a lighter orange. So every year it's different. So it's always interesting to see what colors they come up with. Anyways, this spell calls for, the first ingredient is an oil, which is made with stinging nettles. Now, stinging nettles is an herb, and they actually make a tea out of it. It's actually very medicinal. But in its natural form, the leaf has some little needles in it that if it rubs against your skin, it's an irritant. and it's been known traditionally to be a protective herb. I have not been able to find nettles, so we're going to do a substitution. And this is something you need to remember with Magick. If you can't find an ingredient, you can always substitute. So our substitution is I'm going to use rosemary. Rosemary is a wonderful herb. It's a medicinal herb. It's healing, it's purifying, but it's also a protective herb. So what we want to do is we want to make up our oil. Now, in the ideal world, you'll have a few weeks to prepare your oil and let it really soak. But today, we're not going to do that. But what you want to do is find a little bottle to make for your oil. This is one of my little witchy bottles. And just add some herb to that. I made a little paper funnel here, and that helps filter it out. So you can see we just put that down in there. Just a little herb. You want to just kind of fill your little funnel here and get some herb in your bottle. Okay? And just funnel it down. For those of you not familiar, here's the herb rosemary. I want to show it to you. It's a kind of a green herb. It has long needles. Very powerful. It's a very protective herb. So you might want to explore that herb. So after you have some herb down in your bottle, just shake it around. Then you can add the oil. And if you forget to have a funnel or you have a small neck bottle like I do, as I say, use a paper foil. It works great. And you can just pour your oil and it will go into your bottle. Isn't that something? Look at that. And see there, we now have, let me just put that down, our bottle with the herb and the oil. And what you want to do is cork that up, or if you have a cap, and shake that up, you know. Shake it up, get that herb, let that oil soak it up, okay? Now, what you want to do is, you can make this now and then store it for later. I would encourage you to keep your herbs in darker bottles. I like to keep mine in the refrigerator to keep it fresher. But this is a wonderful, powerful rosemary oil. And you use basically, you just use, olive oil, which you can buy at the grocery store. And then the herb, as we said, rosemary, mix them up. You've got a wonderful, wonderful oil. This is a good substitution if you can't get nettle. So, anyways, here we go. The next item you'll need is a candle. Now, I happen to be using a plain old white taper candle. You can usually buy these at basically any store. I bought this at a local pharmacy store in the candle section. A lot of grocery stores even carry them. So anyways, just a plain old white taper candle that costs like 99 cents. And what we want to do is we want to anoint our candle with this oil. And as you're anointing your candle, you want to meditate on your goals. So you want to be thinking of protection. So you want to visualize protection and meditate. Now, some people say start in the middle and then work down to the bottom, which is a grounding energy. And after you have the candle coated well with the oil, when it's anointed, then you go back to the middle of the candle and you anoint the oil upwards. Now, another technique that you can do, which I think I'm going to actually do today, just to add some further energy to this, is you can even roll your candle in herbs. So what you want to do is put your, sprinkle out some herbs and then just spread it around. And once your candle is anointed and wet, you can just roll your candle through the herbs, and the herb will adhere to the candle. This isn't in the Witch's Spell of the Almanac, but it's a technique that I like to do. And you'll see you'll get the herb coating on your candle. I just think this adds a little more energy to the spell. So you can do that, and then it'll adhere to it. Okay. Remember, as you are anointing your candle with the herbs and sacred oil, you want to be meditating. So you want to visualize protective energies, and that you can literally visualize white light going into your candle and infusing it with power. It's a wonderful thing to do. I think that's good. And then you can set your candle in a holder. As you see, we have it set up here. It's kind of tall, but you can see the candle in the holder. Next thing you want to do is consecrate your mirror with the oil. This is a little mirror. In fact, you can buy these usually at the dollar store. I picked this one up at, I think it was Pier 1, and it was literally only $1. It's a beautiful little candle. See, it's got beads, and very, very nice. So, taking your oil, you want to anoint the back of the candle, or back of the mirror. And I'm going to trace a pentagram here. And from my spell book, I use the ritual, "Hear this pentagram I lay, protection now by night by day. So mote it be." And just put a little oil on the back of your mirror. Oops, I forgot to take the price sticker up, but that's okay. Don't anoint the front of your mirror, at least not in this spell, because you need that to be very clear. Okay. Now, since you'll have extra herb on your table, one of the things I like to do is not throw it away, but use it in the spell. And even though, again, this isn't necessarily in the book, it's something that I do. And you can literally make a little magic circle with the herbs that you rolled your candle in. See how we do it? Just pull it together and make a little circle. And then you can sit your candle in the middle of the circle of herbs, and that will give power to your spell. So as you can see, we now have our candle anointed. It's in the herbs, surrounded by the herb, rosemary. We have our mirror anointed. Then what we want to do is, as the spell book says, we want to look into the mirror. And if we have somebody who's being hostile, we look into the mirror and visualize black light streaming towards us. And we tilt our mirror and we send that light out. But we send it as gray light. Now you're going to say, why gray light? Why not just send back the black light? Well, gray light is a neutralizing energy. We don't want to be party to the negative magics, but we are allowed to defend ourselves by neutralizing it. So you can visualize the light entering the mirror, transforming to gray, and send it back. Just hold that vision for a little while. Just sit, see the light coming to you. Feel it, know it's there, then send it back. And when you feel like you've built up power through that meditation, then you light your candle. Now, I can't light my candle because I'm at my workplace today, and we have laws here about candles in work environments. So, but if I were at my home, I would light my candle then. So then you light your candle, and then you begin the following chant. Fiendish storm unleashed my way. Holding your mirror up, still seeing the transformation. Fiendish storm unleashed my way, captured, bound, and held at bay. Stripped of hatred, turned to gray, reflected back unto its source, and bound about them to block the force. And after you do that, hold that meditation a little longer, then just let the candle burn down. If you get a taper, it'll burn in like an hour or 2 hours. Just let it sit, let it burn down, and then you gather up the remnants of the wax that's left in the herbs and go bury it. And with your mirror also. Well, actually, some people bury the mirror. I love my little mirror, so what I do is I would consecrate it, cleanse it, and then reuse it for another spell. But according to the spell book, it says bury it. So if you can afford it, you buy these. They're only $1. You can probably afford to bury it. But it's up to you. You don't have to do it. Now remember that. That's the important thing about magic. You don't have to do everything exactly as it's written. You should follow the general guidelines, but you can substitute things, okay? So anyways, there you go. There's a little bit of magic. Well, guys, I am so glad that you took the time to come out and do a little bit of magic with us. As I said, this spell came from the Witch's Spell Day Almanac. You can see it's a very simple spell, but one that I think is very powerful. Anyways, guys, I hope that you'll try it. I hope you'll explore the workings of magic. If you're new here, we're going to have more and more lessons. In fact, next Tuesday, I think we're going to do candle magic. I'm going to do a whole series, well, just at least a whole start of video. Maybe we'll make it into a series. But next week, we're going to start on candle magic. I'm going to teach you all the basics of different types of candle spells. How would you like that? Sound good? All right, well, listen, keep it here at Spirit Channel. We got more coming. I am so glad you're here. Listen, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you be part of our channel. And anyways, guys, tell me, have you ever done a candle magic spell? Comments in the box below, thumbs up, and we'll see you back here next week. Blessings to you.